most famous physical therapist on the internet.
Hi, folks. I'm Bob Schrupp, physical therapist.
Brad Heine, physical
We are
therapist.
the most famous physical therapists on the internet.
In our opinion, of course,
We've
Bob.
got for you today 5 best at-home hand and wrist stretches after surgery or cast removal for pain-free movements. Did I say that right?
You did outstanding, Bob. You're getting better every week.
Before we get into it, though, if you are new to our channel, please take a second to subscribe to us. We provide videos on how to stay healthy, fit, pain-free, and we upload every day. Also, you're going to want to go to Bob and Brad, and it's going to be a surprise because we don't know what it is ourselves.
What?
Go to the giveaway section.
Oh, the gift.
And we're giving away something really cool. Just find out what it is. Let us know. And then you can also find it on Facebook, Bob and Brad. It'll be pinned to the top of the page, the giveaway. If you want a short version of us, go to Twitter or Instagram. You can have 60 seconds of love from Bob and Brad every day.
Oh, Bob, you're killing me.
Yeah.
So, wrist. After surgery, we just did a video on this, on how to strengthen your wrist. And I thought, boy, we better do something on how to actually loosen up, because before you strengthen it, you should regain pretty much full range of motion.
Brad, I must say, I think this is a very timely video because we're just moving into winter. And how many times do you see this in the winter? Somebody slips, and the first thing they do, they put their arm out and they break their wrist.
That traditional Colles fracture.
Right.
Yep.
Had a lot of them last year.
Yep.
Neighbor lady did it, just walking out, doing her morning walk.
Yeah.
So
I thought maybe she's getting the paper.
Nope, she was going, and my wife's been using the yak tracks.
Oh,
yak,
yeah, for grips. Yeah, so you don't slip. Yep. Anyways, we better get on with it. People are rambling, Bob, I guess. So one thing that you really need to do is after a surgery or cast removal, make sure you get the okay or the orders from the physician that you're working with on what to do or what not to do. Hopefully he's going to say stretch it out as tolerated. You should not create any sharp pain or get it swollen, but work with it as appropriate without overdoing it. If that's the case, this is going to be a really good video.
You can do all these then.
Right. There may be precautions where you say, well, you can work it, flex it, but you can't extend it depending on the surgery. But then you'll have to go with
by the guidance of the therapist.
Right. And if that's the case, you'll probably want to be with a therapist. Yeah. One thing I do want to say is, and I had a person, he cut his hand open right across the palm with a chainsaw, very severe, and it was healed up fairly well, but I had to be careful on how much to do the range of motion so you didn't split the incision open.
Sure.
So be careful of that to make sure you got, clean up your hands and whatnot so you don't get an infection if there was an incision with the surgery. Stretch number 1, we're going to start with the wrist. Simple flexion and extension. And you'll probably want to do it when you extend. The fingers are going to bend. You'll get better range of motion as opposed to like this. We're working the wrists, not the fingers now.
Right. If we were wanting to stretch the fingers, then we'd go ahead and bring them up this way. But the wrist.
So you're going to work that, and you're going to do 10 of all of these throughout all of these. Now, I said that twice.
Yeah, did you?
So anyways, if you want to passively range your wrist, you're going to grab the hand here to flex it. You don't want to grab the fingers. We want to isolate the wrist. And you can do 10 this way. You can grab here, palm to palm, and extend this way to give a little more overpressure if it's ready for it.
And sometimes you can go off the edge of a table.
Sure.
Just to give a little more support for the forearm.
Right, stabilizes that forearm. Good point, Bob. The next one is, this is something that is not maybe obvious to everyone, but the wrist goes this way, but it also goes ulnar and radial deviation. So I like to grab my wrist here and do this. And if it's not going very well, grab like this and
give it a little stretch.
Yep.
Same thing again. You can go off the table and work it that way too for stabilizing the event.
Again, 10 repetitions, not too fast. You can hold the stretch a little bit. Hold it this way.
Make sure you're breathing and make sure your pain is under control.
Right. Don't get carried away. Don't think no pain, no gain, and think you're going to regain your motion in a couple days. It may take a few weeks. That all depends on how things are going for you in their situation.
Take what the body will give you.
There you go.
May not be much to start.
Yeah. If it does swell up after some of these stretches, cold packs for 10 to 20 minutes is a good way to help control that. The next one is pronation and supination. So palms up, supination, palms down, pronation. You don't need to remember that
But
unless
the
you want
elbows
to.
are kind of into the side. I
Yeah,
always think.
yeah,
You don't want to.
yeah. We're
Go
not
like that, right?
exactly. Good point, Bob. Well, it's a good thing you're here today.
Yeah, we're not doing the chicken dance here.
Oh no, absolutely not. I think that's a Wisconsin thing.
I was so happy. I just went to a wedding. They didn't do the chicken dance. I was so glad they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't do the electric slide. They didn't do all
Yeah.
those. I was so glad.
Now we're rambling, Bob.
Yeah,
We
now
better
we're
get to the
rambling. Well,
next
we're doing
one.
our exercise
Yeah.
while we're rambling.
Now, next one is really important for the fingers. You really want to, instead of just flexing and open your fingers, which is a good way to start, you want to actually go through each joint on the finger. And I've done this a lot, and I'll have my patients. Let's start with the pointer finger. You can do this to get warmed up, but then grab here right above that first joint and go down and just isolate that joint.
I would say you would do this if they're stiff, right?
Right.
I mean, if they're fine, you don't. You can get away with just doing this.
Right. You're exactly right,
Yeah.
Bob. If you fractured your wrist, your fingers may have been moving all the time in the cast.
Yeah.
Sometimes those fingers are already isolated in the cast and you can't. Then they're probably going to be stiff, and then you'll do this. Good point. And you do it on each finger. Each joint you may need
Each
to do
joint of the finger.
And I've had people only one or two fingers are stiff, and the other ones, depending on the injury. But if they are stiff, you do want to isolate each joint.
So you're always grabbing above the joint,
Right.
basically, and pulling above the joint and pulling
Yeah.
above the joint and pulling.
Yeah, the ones on the tip. A lot of people don't think about that, but you really need to get in
Yeah,
and
you
work
need
that
that full
sometimes too.
range.
Especially on those first two fingers, it's very functional.
You should be able to get in. Your fingers should be able to go all the way into the crease.
Right.
If you're able to have full flexion.
There you go. And then the thumb. Don't forget about the thumb. That's a little different than the fingers,
Yeah.
but make sure you can work it
Yeah, it's
right
got
to left, if
it's
you
got
will.
full circumduction there,
Yeah.
basically. Even.
Forward and backwards.
Yeah.
And there's a joint right here, a joint here, and a joint there. So there's 3 joints on the
Mhm.
thumb. This one a lot of people aren't aware of. So you want to make sure that's going. And it's different than the fingers. You just don't, it's not as clear. Work it this way.
Right.
This joint only goes one way, and this joint is a hinge joint as well. So work all those 10 to 20 reps. Start from the wrist, go out to the fingers. It may take you at the beginning if you have a full range of motions from the fingers to the wrist, you might be doing this for 3 to 5 minutes.
Sure.
You'll get better at it. It loosens up, and then back to normal.
What's your number 5 there? Isn't that open, close? fist,
Oh
and hold?
yes, that's just a general. Once you get done, just open and close. Do
And
some
then some
circles.
rolls, yeah.
Yep, just to finish it up. And to the point, if you can shake it out, you can do that a little bit. You won't be able to do that
Shake it off.
initially.
Shake it off.
Whatever it
Is
takes
that
to
it?
trip
I
your
don't know what it
trigger.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching.
Enjoy the day.